What is up? OTD Pod is back with a special edition, just hosted alone, unfortunately, maybe, by your boy, OTD Skull. As you can see, this may be one of the more somber talks that we have, since it is just me. Only my voice will be echoing through your headphones rather than my usual partners, so I figured let's keep it somber. Let's put the Brunson glasses on. Sorry, there's something on my nose. OT Pod is back with, like I said, a special edition on this Selection Sunday. Shout out college basketball. Shout out March Madness. Big fan. I will be looking forward to filling out my usual onslaught of brackets. But today, before Selection Sunday goes underway at 6 p.m., I think, I wanted to come on here and talk Knicks and just talk Knicks, man. It is about that time of the season where things become clear, I would say, in terms of the playoff picture, but also a lot of teams are throttling down, either tanking for better draft position or resting for the playoffs. And it is undeniably a bit of a lull in the NBA season, I would say. I think it gives way nicely, to be honest, to March Madness in March. Um, but nonetheless, I wanted to fill the gaps that we have right now in the NBA season and with our lovely favorite New York Knicks by just talking about it, man. A lot of the discourse I have seen around this team is very much so misguided. It is from people who do not watch the games. It's from people that really act like they care about one thing when they really care about another when it comes down to it. Um, so yeah, let's just get into it, man. Honestly, let's just get into it. I want to start off by talking about the New York Knicks of now versus the New York Knicks of old. And when I say old, I mean last year, even the year before, the Brunson era, let's call it, compared to now. And what's changed, what's different, what's the same even? What were we last year versus what are we this year? And let's just keep it stupid simple to start. Last year, we won 51 games. I would say that most people considered that a success. I mean, just regular season wise, 51 games, third seed in the East. I think we were all pretty much fine with that. And obviously, what happened in the playoffs was great until it wasn't. Um, Beating the Celtics was the peak existence for Knicks fans in the century that we are in. So yeah, I would say success was had last year, and most people agreed with that. Now, when it comes to this year, it feels like that success has wavered or at least been more inconsistent than a lot of us have wanted, yeah, myself included. In a perfect world, would love for us to just be what the Thunder are now. Um, you know, 60 games winning. The arguments against the Thunder at this point are really just, do they even care that much? I would love for that to be the discourse around us, but it's not. And realistically, as a fan of this team for a very long time, and as an avid watcher of this team, and very specifically these players that we have, I know our limitations, and really anyone who watches as much as I do, or even close to as much as I do, you kind of you have to realize our limitations, and you probably should have going into this season. We are not the old Warriors. We are not the Thunder. We're not even what the Celtics were prior to the Tatum injury. And, shout out to what they've done this year. But a dominant force is not us, dude. It's just not. And hard pressed to believe it ever was going to be just based on what our roster is constructed like. The best player we have is 6 foot. He's my height. He's not athletic. He is a underdog story who we all know and love, Jalen Brunson. Our best player is our best player for a reason, but he has his limitations. And to think that he would be as good as the best players on some of the teams I've mentioned, the Thunder, Shea, the Celtics with Tatum, even going back to Warriors days with KD, Steph, you want to go to LeBron on the Heat, whatever. Our best player is not as good as any of those guys. And that's just a fact. We love him for what he is, but to think he was going to carry us to win 60 games, number one, hard pressed to believe that. Number two, I don't need that out of him, man. I don't need that out of Brunson. What we need is for him to turn up in the playoffs, bro. And that's just what this team is. We're right now more than ever just building to try to win in the playoffs. But all that aside, let's look at what our regular season is folding out to be. As I said, we won 51 games last year. Right now, at this time, we have 43 wins with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games left. That means that if we win 9 of these manageable, I will say, 14 games, we will have more wins this year than we did last year. And that's probably lowballing it because we got Golden State tonight without Steph at home. I think we can get that one. Maybe not, but I think we can. Then we go bring Indiana into the Garden. They always play us tough. We know that. I would pick them to win that game. Then we go to Brooklyn. I then we get Washington at home. I mean, then we get New Orleans at home. Probably 5 wins right there. I'll say four. I'll say four. Then we go to Charlotte and OKC back to back. That'll be tough. We also round that road trip out with Houston and Memphis. They could easily go 2-2, even 1-3 on this road trip here. Charlotte, OKC, Houston, Memphis. Let's say they go 1-3, and let's say they went 4-1 in those prior games I mentioned: Golden State, Indiana, Brooklyn, Washington, New Orleans. Let's say they go 4-1. Then they go 1-3 on that little road trip. Now we're at 5 more wins with 5 to play. And we will be matched up against Chicago at home, Atlanta on the road, Boston at home, Toronto at home, who we've dominated, Charlotte at home. I mean, I don't really see how we don't get to 53 wins this year, 52 maybe. Even if I want to play devil's advocate and say Charlotte's been better, whatever, Boston's going to be tough. Maybe we lose every single game that I think we could lose in this stretch. We still are looking at a very similar record to last year at worst. At worst. Like, what's the problem, dude? What's the problem, bro? We're about to win the same amount of games, if not more, than last year. And maybe you want to say, like, okay, the East isn't as good as last year, so we should win more. All right, man, go ahead. Say that. Say that. We didn't think Detroit was going to be this good, but they are. They just are. All right. We didn't think Boston was going to be this good without Tatum, but they are. And that's our fault. That's that's our bad that Cade has now arrived as an MVP candidate and Joe Mazzulla has proven himself to be one of the best coaches in the league. And after that, it's us and Cleveland. All right, Cleveland, who has now brought in Harden in to fix the issues they've had in the playoffs. Yeah, good luck. Good luck, dude. I am not scared of Cleveland. But all that aside, this year versus last year, this team is just based on record pretty much the same, man. And we all were happy with last year. It's just funny how the narrative changes, bro. I think one thing about last year that we really hated about the team was that they didn't beat anyone who was good, quote unquote. All the best teams in the league, they lost every game. How many times did you see 0 and 14, 0 and 12, whatever it was, against all the best teams in the league last year? That didn't matter. But if it were to matter, that's not an issue this year. That's literally not an issue this year, except for Detroit, who we beat in the playoffs last year. And they lost shooters from that team. If we want to go into Detroit and our matchup versus Detroit this year, we could have the discussion another time. I think the team is a lot different than they were in the playoffs. Players have risen, players have ascended on that team, but they also lost guys that killed us in the playoffs last year, and we still beat them in six. So, you know, regular season Detroit woes aside, they have smoked the Spurs once, beat them another time, lost to them because Julian Champagnie, who I haven't heard a peep from since, had 10 threes, I think 11 maybe against us, and they came back from 18. We could be 3-0 against the Spurs if not for that. We may have gotten smoked by the Cavs last time we played them, but do we forget that we beat them 2 times prior to that? We came back from 18 on Christmas and beat them. We beat them opening day. How hard is it to beat a team every time you play them? Almost impossible. It doesn't happen. We laid an egg in Cleveland. That does happen. That happens. Sorry, but it happens. And they've had a few egg lays this year. But when you have a fucking 82 game regular season and you've brought in a new coach specifically to build and win in the playoffs, there are some growing pains in the regular season, and it's honestly good to have those growing pains now rather than what we ran into last year, where Thibodeau throws in Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright in game 6 of an elimination ECF game. Like, Mike Brown is doing exactly what we asked him to do at every step. I love what I'm seeing from Mike Brown. I don't care about the noise. He has done what we asked from him as fans, as an organization. Everyone around the team has asked for what he's doing. He's trying things out. He's throwing guys in there that don't get a lot of minutes, every night. We've seen recently Jordan Clarkson has finally came back into the fold, had a few great games. We're going to need him. We might need him. There might be points that come down the line in the playoffs where maybe we're struggling with our shot. No one's hitting threes. Jordan Clarkson can come in for 15 minutes and maybe give us 6 points. And that matters in the playoffs. That's what a lot of us agree screwed us over last year because we didn't have the confidence to bring in anyone off the bench other than Deuce McBride and Mitchell Robinson. That was it. That was the bench last year. That was it. Our guys, I don't know, the burnout argument has been played out enough, but it may very well have been an issue. And I don't think it's going to be an issue this year. I mean, I for sure won't blame that because of what I've seen. Mike Brown is playing a lot of guys because we need guys to be ready for the playoffs, even if it's for 10 minutes in one game in a game 4 of the second round. It's very important minutes, dude. It's very important minutes. We have now become, I think, one of the deepest teams, if not the deepest in the whole league. There are 9 or 10 guys that I've seen have big moments for us this year in the regular season, and that is exactly what we brought Mike Brown in to do. Find a few sparks off the bench that we can use in spots in the playoffs. He's done that. And to move into more like of a systematic discussion about what are our strengths and what are our problems, what are our weaknesses as it stands currently. I think it's very clear that we do at times have problems on defense. But I really want to tether that because if you look at the numbers, it doesn't really add up to say that we're a bad defensive team. We're not actually. We've been amazing. I think they're top five in defense, top five in offensive rating for like the first time in like 30 years or like longer. So, you know, numbers is one thing, but I am willing to eye test. I'm willing to have an eye test discussion. Willing to put numbers aside and say, the regular season doesn't matter that much and things may look one way and end up another in the playoffs. That aside, eye test. Brunson and Cat are shitty defenders. Yep, they are. That's fine. We all know that. We all know that. They work hard. All right. So I don't want to make this like a argument that Brunson and Cat, especially what I've seen from Cat lately, because he gets this argument against him a lot that they don't work hard enough on defense. They try. They fucking try. But Brunson is short. Cat is slow of foot. It is not easy for them. It's just not. I mean, look, I am not happy about this. I'm just saying this is the reality. They have their struggles on defense, especially in like a pick and roll situation, right? We know this. But I honestly think Mike Brown has done a great job of hiding them and letting them thrive in certain defensive situations in which they can. Brunson has done a great job. He's in the past and in this year more than ever. Puts his body on the line, takes fucking charges, bro. All the fucking time. All the time. Sometimes I wish he wouldn't because I want him up and not hurt, not being run over by a center just to get the ball back. But he's trying. And Cat, he is just, slow of foot and he has bad defensive awareness. And, he doesn't always put himself in the best position to defend well. Not for lack of trying. I think it's literally just a lack of cerebral defensive awareness. Like some of these things are innate. A lot. I think there's no doubting, there's no denying that a great defender has an innate ability to play defense. If they didn't, then what would be so great about them? Obviously, the work you put in is a big part of it, and that is great, but there's only so much work you can do if you don't have it. We see it with OG, right? He is so instinctual on defense. And that's not that comes from that comes from a place that a lot of people cannot reach. But all that aside, I when I watch the games and when I watch the games where I'm uneasy about how things are going, and when I watch games where I feel like we could lose this, it's almost never because of what I'm seeing on defense. And that's just the truth. It usually is an offensive problem. It's usually because we're missing shots, open shots, shots that these players have made millions of times before. Sometimes they just miss. And sometimes we get a little stagnant. And sometimes I think we're trying a lot of different things because, again, it's the regular season. This is the this is the teaching ground. This is where we find what works and what doesn't for the playoffs. And sometimes the lineups don't work. And sometimes we're just cold. And sometimes Mikal Bridges and OG don't have it, dude. And because they're not, which we all know, they're not our best players, right? They're third, fourth best players. They're great players, but that's it. We don't look at OG Anunoby and say, oh, he's supposed to be scoring at like a Kevin Durant rate. We don't look at Mikal Bridges and say, oh, he should be as good as Shea Gilgeous-Alexander out there. He should. Why would we? They're they're they have roles that we've put in place because we know their limitations. And sometimes they're not hitting shots because and that's why they're not all-star players. Nobody is clamoring for OG and Mikal to be all-stars this year because they're inconsistent at times. Any Knicks fan who actually watches the games knows that and is okay with that. Because when they're great, and they have spurts and they have times where they are great. And we need that. But we don't expect that every night unless you're, oblivious to reality. It's just not going to happen. So when those guys are cold, we have tough games because we have to find scoring elsewhere. Brunson presses a little bit. I've seen that from him. I do think it's a bit of a problem at times because Brunson feels like, all right, no one's going. I gotta get it going. I gotta get it going. And he puts himself in bad situations, takes some bad shots, turns the ball over a little bit. So all this to say, what did what did Mike Brown come here to do, man? Came here to win in the playoffs and to find pieces to help us win in the playoffs better than what Thibodeau did. And you know what? He came here. One of the things I wanted to do was improve the offense. And I will say the biggest problem I've had with Mike Brown, who again I think has done a great job given the circumstances. I wish the offense was a little bit more fluid. And part of me again thinks that this is the regular season and we're trying new things, honestly, not showing all our stuff. Truly, truly believe Mike Brown is holding back a little bit because he knows there's no reason to expose everything in the regular season. So, again, I wish the offense was a little better at times. I'm actually not so worried about the defense. I think when it comes down to it in this NBA, you honestly don't win games with defense anymore. You win games because you make shots. And in the playoffs in the past, Brunson, even Cat, Brunson and Cat in the Detroit series were insane with the levels of shots they made. The shot making was insane, dude. Seriously, go back and watch that series. They took it from Detroit. You want to talk about the possible, foul on Hart at the end of game six or game five, I think it was game four. Game four, I think. Sure. The ref things happen. Karl Anthony Towns hit a shot from 32 feet before that play, before that would be foul. 32 feet, swished it. A horrible shot, drained it. And that's why we won the game. You want to go back into the first quarter, second quarter, talk about this defense possession, talk about that offensive possession, talk about this shot, talk about this turnover. They won the game because Karl Anthony Towns stepped back from 32 and drilled one on the road. And you know what? He was hitting shots, fadeaways from the corner that you don't look at and say, "Oh yeah, well, that was a product of the defense that they've been playing all day, or the lack of turnovers that they've had, or that he fucking made an unbelievable shot, an unbelievable set of shots." Jalen Brunson literally saved us from death in game six. Trust me, dude. I thought it was over. I remember it vividly. I texted my dad with like 3 minutes, 4 minutes left, and I said, we're not good enough. And Brunson just made shot after shot after shot and one. Move in left, stopping on a dime. He made shots, dude. So when it comes down to winning in the playoffs, you gotta make shots, dude. And that's just it. It's just it, dude. And this team can make shots. I've seen them do it. But it disappoints me that I don't see it on a regular basis. I wish Mike Brown made it look a little bit easier for us. And at times he has. At times he has. But at times he hasn't. And that's my biggest problem. And I do, again, think that there are things we're not showing right now because we want them for the playoffs. But what I also know is that if we want to win, if we want to win the finals, we want to go to the finals even, our best players are going to have to hit shots. And unfortunately, it's hard to even talk like there's really no like discourse that you can have if you really want to talk about what it takes to win the finals, because all you have to do is make shots, big time shots, shots when you're covered, but you've taken it 1,000 fucking times, so it doesn't matter who's on you. That's what this team has always been about. We, our guys, know their shots. They know what they can hit. They know where they're trying to get on the court, especially when it comes to the playoffs, and they hit those shots. Even Mikal Bridges, who we're talking so much shit about right now, he knows what he's good at, and he goes and tries to be good at that. He doesn't try to do things that he can't do. Like maybe we hate sometimes when he fades away for that little, corner midi and instead of just going up strong. Brother, I've seen guys on our team go up strong. OG looking at you. Go up strong and just throw up a fucking prayer and look for the foul. And we don't like that. Do I want Mikal Bridges to go up strong and just get fucking swatted at the rim? No, I want him to take a shot that he's comfortable with and that he's taken a million fucking times before. And that's a and that's a mid-range fadeaway, bro. When I see Mikal take a mid-range fadeaway, I always think it has a chance to go in. Maybe y'all don't, but I've watched enough of him. He's taken a million shots from the mid-range. Go get that midi, dude. I don't care where you are on the court. Go get that midi. And if we want to have a discussion about the Mikal Bridges situation, which again, I don't really think it's much of a problem right now. Just lay it out as is. He's the fourth best player at times on the team, maybe third. I mean, between him and OG, he's the fourth best player on the team, dude. Sometimes it's hard to get shots. We talked about this a ton with like the Heatles with Chris Bosh. He was the third best player. And a lot of people said, "Where's Chris Bosh today? Why'd he go soft? Why is he shooting threes?" Good luck getting your fourth best player 15, 10 shots, even 8 shots a game. Good luck. What's everyone else doing? If he's taking 8 shots a game as the fourth best player, brother, OG Anunoby he's had a good stretch right now. So he's getting the ball. Trust me, I've seen stretches where OG is can't hit, couldn't throw a beach ball into a pool, and Mikal's picking up the slack. I've seen it. But because OG wasn't traded for 5 first-round picks, we don't care as much for some reason when OG doesn't do as well. But I've seen it. OG's been bad, bro. He was horrible when he got back from that injury after the All-Star break. Horrible. Lost us games because he stunk so bad. And Mikal had to pick up the slack, and he was scoring more at that time. He destroyed the Spurs now, multiple occasions of near 40-point games. Or I don't know. He had a 40-point game last year, and he had a 27, 30-point game this year. Been saying this a lot, but all that aside, once again, let's just talk about what the Mikal Bridges situation is. We're mad because we gave up 5 first-round picks. I'm honestly, hold on. I'm going to look exactly at what the trade was. All right. So the Nets in this trade received Bojan Bogdanovic Love you, Bohan, but come on. Mohamed Diakite. He hit a big shot for UVA. What was it in like 2018? Don't really see the need to even bring up a name like Mohamed Diakite right now, but he was in the trade, so Shake Milton. Yeah. An unprotected first round pick in 2025. I believe that led to Igor Demin, who's is he even playing right now? I literally don't even think he's playing right now. We also gave him an unprotected first round pick in 2027. Hasn't even happened yet. Hasn't even happened yet. We gave another one up unprotected in 2029. And we finally gave up one more unprotected in 2031, dude. In 2031, dude. I'm gonna be halfway to 40. Well, no, I'm already halfway to 40, but I'm gonna be 35 fucking years old by the time that pick turns into something. Who knows what? They also pick swapped for 2028. They top four protected 2025 from the Bucks, which was a Bucks. That's pretty much the trade. I just laid it out for you. And we got Mikal Bridges, Keita Bates Diop, a 2026 second round pick, and some guy from Spain. Actually, he was supposed to be nice, I think. Juan, Pablo, whatever. Didn't work out. But all this again to say, who did we really give up for Mikal Bridges that y'all are so pissed about, dude? What is the problem? We didn't give up a real player of value. We didn't give up a player, dude. Love you, Bohan, but we didn't really give up a player in this trade. We gave up picks. We gave up theoretical players. Like, bro, I get it. You want picks to start to think about the future. Obviously, any team is built through the draft that really is a good franchise, is a good organization. I understand that. But what did you really want out of the pieces we traded away? I'll give you I'll give you something I would have wanted. How about a player like Mo Diawara, who we got anyway? Who we got anyway? You you want to sit there and tell me that I really truly believe that any of those picks that we gave up turn into a player as good as Mo Diawara? I don't know, maybe, bro, maybe one of those picks turns into a player that's as good or better than Mo Diawara. Maybe. But let's just step back into reality real quick. We have Mo Diawara anyway, who's shooting 42% from three as a rookie. And we got him and Mikhail. What's the problem, dude? What is the problem? What do you think the NBA draft is at this point in the life of the league? It's a bunch of unproven potential guys that could be good, that could turn into something like Mo Diawara. What is the problem? We didn't give up shit for Mikhail. That's what I would say. Well, no matter how good he is, no matter how good or bad Mikhail is for us, we didn't give up shit for him. We got him for fucking free from a crosstown rival. We didn't give up a real player, dude. What if those 4 or 5 picks turn into Mo Diawara and Mikal Bridges? You're you're ecstatic if that happens. You're ecstatic if that happens. If 4 first round picks, 5 first round picks turn into Mo Diawara and Mikal Bridges and 3 scrubs, you're hype. You're hype about it. Ugh. Sorry. I said this was going to be somber. Just grinds my gears, dude. Stephen A. You don't watch the games. Let's just start there. And you keep saying Mikal Bridges, where is Mikal Bridges? Yeah, I want him to be better too. Of course I want Mikal Bridges to be better. But he's the fourth or third at most best player on the team. What is he supposed to do? We never, we never thought that Mikal Bridges was going to lead us to the finals. He's a piece. He's a complementary piece to our best players, Brunson, Cat. And I really hate to do this because I love him. Stephen A., you should have been talking about Brunson struggles against LA or whatever. The two games against LA. Let's start there. The two games against LA because you had such a big problem with Mikal Bridges, who had zero against the Lakers and then five, I think, against the Clippers. That's not good. I'm not saying that's good. But what I'm saying is I watched those games and that's not why they lost. That's not why they lost. They lost because Brunson did not play well, had a lot of turnovers. One of Brunson's biggest flaws is 1000% his lack of height. He gets doubled sometimes right before half, sometimes right after the half court line, and a lot of times tries to throw it over the defender's arms and it gets tipped because he's 6 foot and they're 6'8", 6'9". I've seen it a lot and it does worry me. It does worry me. Why don't we talk about that more? We need a better secondary. We honestly, what I would say, I don't want to get too X's and O's, but we need Cat. If Brunson is in a situation where he's getting hard doubled at the half court line, Cat needs to come up, free throw line extended even to the 3-point line, box out his man there, and Brunson throws it to him early, very early in that press. Way before you even get to half court, Brunson should be Cat. Let's get it over, Cat. Quick. Throw it to Cat. Catches it, gives it right back to Brunson once he gets over the line. Now we're in the offense. But that's what I want to hear from guys like Stephen A. Tell me what's actually going on the court. Don't look at the stats and say, "Damn, McKelber just had zero. That's why we lost." That's what's got me pissed. What's got me pissed is things like I just discussed. I hate. I don't want to see our point guard having trouble getting the ball over half court, turning it over a lot. And again, it goes back to what I say when with the offensive issues, which I wish there were less of. I wish there were less issues on offense. I trust me when I say it. If there were less issues on offense, this team would be better. The defense is fine. The defense is fine, dude. We have guys who Mitchell Robinson is a superhero when he comes in there, man. I said it was going to be somber, dude. I knew the Mikal Bridges stuff, man. It just gets me heated. It gets me heated because I know you don't really watch the games. If you're so worried about Mikal Bridges, dude, he's our fourth best player, and he's a great fourth best player or third at times. He's so good. Trust me, y'all. Trust me, dude. What has really caused us to lose in the past in the playoffs? What's it been? Let's go back even to Brunson's first year when they played the Heat. They lost to Jimmy Butler's heroic Heat team. That was tough. But it was the first year with Brunson. Like I said, first year with Brunson. Julius Randle was still there. We, talk about RJ Barrett was still there, right? We can talk about the problems that team may have had. But nonetheless, they did run into the hero himself of that playoff run, Jimmy Butler, and they lost. Then next year, we come in with a newly loaded roster of OG Anunoby instead of mainly OG Anunoby instead of RJ Barrett. That was the biggest change. And we get through Philly. We go and visit Indiana, or rather, they visited us for the first two games of the second series of that playoff run. And we all know what happened. Everyone got hurt. Everyone got hurt. OG gets hurt. OG gets hurt. We are, even now, we are essentially the Charlotte Hornets if OG doesn't play. And I'll be honest about that. We are basically the Charlotte Hornets if OG doesn't play. So without him, we lost. There were other guys hurt too. I mean, Julius, again, that was back when Julius was still on the team. Julius was hurt. Right. I think forgetting now, but someone else got hurt even too. I think like Josh ended up being hurt, right? I think it's fair to say we lost that playoff series. We were sent home because of injuries. Injuries. So now we got Hero Jimmy Butler, new team. That's reason one why we lost. Reason two, second season of the Brunson era, we lose because of injuries. And then last year, what did we really lose to? Literally a miracle. A miracle. I'm not biased in saying that. Aaron Nesmith went God mode, and Halliburton hit a shot that almost came off the top of the garden. Literally almost hit the roof of the garden, came down and went in. Are you kidding me? If that shot doesn't go in, at worst, based on the rest of the series, we have a game seven ECF at the Garden for a chance to go to the finals. Brother, you want to talk X's and O's? You know, I'll even admit maybe we were a little burnt out just with the Tibbs style and the minutes, all that. By the time we got to Indiana, and by the time 2 minutes in the fourth quarter hit of game one, where Neesmith began his onslaught, maybe we were a little burnt out. And we left him open. You could leave a guy open 5 times in a row. A lot of times he hits 3 of them, and you're happy with it. Neesmith hit all 5. But nonetheless, maybe they were a little burnt out. That's why we brought in Mike Brown, and they ain't gonna be burnt out this time around. That ain't gonna be an excuse. It ain't. We got 9 guys, 10 guys that have gotten minutes. Haven't seen a 40-minute game from anyone on the roster all year, I don't think. I could be wrong. I don't have the stats in front of me. But again, I haven't seen it. That ain't gonna be an issue this year. So you want to say that's a problem? We got that taken care of. But I don't even think that really was the problem. I think we just basketball gods said it wasn't your time yet. And again, Stephen A, Kendrick Perkins, whoever the fuck wants to talk basketball and wants to specifically talk about the Knicks isn't going to make money off this discussion, but it's the real discussion. Basketball, playoffs, getting to the finals, there's so much luck involved, you know? It really comes down to a few moments, a few bounces even at times. And that's really it, man. And to nitpick the regular season is just going to drive yourself crazy for nothing. Just enjoy that the team is good, if not great, dude. And now we're looking at 4 straight years where we're going to have a home playoff series to begin. Maybe they were at a 5 seed Brunson's first year, but they won game one in Cleveland, so it felt like a home series. And then since then, we've had home playoff series every year. I'm happy with that. And if we do lose in the playoffs, let's say to the Pistons, I'm not going to blame it on the regular season woes. It doesn't matter, dude. It never has. It just comes down to, can your guys make shots? Can you play intense defense when it matters? And do the basketball gods have it in them to give you a couple breaks and to give you some magic? And that's it. And really, to put a bow on this, I am so confident in this team to find some magic when it matters the most. Because I've seen it before, and I've only seen unluck slash good luck for the other team. Magic, heroic efforts. That's the only way I've seen us go out in half a decade. Injuries, heroic performances, straight up unluck. Straight up unluck, dude. We could have been in the finals last year, man, if it wasn't for an unlucky bounce from Halliburton, who undoubtedly had some basketball gods right over his shoulder. I just hope we can get some of that love this year, man. That's it. That's it, bro. I'm so confident in this team, man. I don't care what happens the rest of the way. I'm honestly going to lock in on March Madness. Enjoy college ball. And when that's over with, we're locked in for Knicks playoffs. I'll see y'all on 7th Ave. If you want to really get lit with Knicks fans, that's where you got to be. Smithfield, we're out here. We're out here. Hype for April, man. Cannot wait to watch this team play in the playoffs because that's the best we've gotten from our Knicks for half a decade. When the playoffs start, Mr. Brunson starts to lock in. Cat, keep getting on the glass, baby. I see you, Cat. I see you. You are seen. You are heard. Best rebounder in the league right now. Don't say he doesn't work hard. He wants this bad. And I'm so hyped to watch them play in the finals. Knocked on wood. Let's go, bro. Let's go. Let's go, Knicks. I've said everything I have to say. I love this team. Cannot wait for Landry Shamet to light up the garden with a three that hits nothing but net in fucking playoffs, dude. That's what it's all about, bro. That's what it's all about. That's a wrap, man. OTD pod just from OTD Scull. Signing off.